I'm going to call the meeting at 2 p.m. to order. All right, and then first we're going to do land acknowledgement from Natalie.
Associated Students Incorporated at Sacramento State would like to take a moment to give honor and respect to the ancestors and to the diverse indigenous people connected to this territory on which we meet. The original stewards on this land belong to Nishnawin, Pahween, and Miwok Native Americans. Keep them in your mind, carry them in your hearts, and we ask that you take a moment to consider your ancestors and your relationship to the land we are on. Thank you.
Okay, and next we're going to move on to the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Mark.
Face the flag, right hand over your heart, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and there is no moment of silence, so we're going to move on to roll call.
Thank you. Pacheco. De La Garza Garcia. Budani.
Present.
Estrella.
Present.
Andrade Dominguez.
Present.
Ayub Galan.
Present.
Nick Dow.
Here.
Neha Diaz.
Here.
Penchel.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Beltran.
Here.
Bolas.
Here.
Maria.
Here.
Babar.
Here.
Aver. Curry.
Here.
Gallardo.
Here.
Montalvo.
Here.
Lenmark.
Here.
Guerrero.
Here.
Gill. Reyes. Denning.
Here.
Dalton. Rocha.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we'll go into the approval of minutes 11/9/2022 board meeting and 11/16/2022 working board meeting. If there are no objections, the minutes shall be approved. Laura?
I'd like to be recognized by the Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right, and the minutes from 11/9/2022 board meeting and 11/16/2022 working board meeting have been approved. And Laura, just to clarify, you just want to be recognized for attending? Okay, thank you. All right, so moving over to public comment. Members of the audience may address the board on any item within the jurisdiction of the board or on any agenda item. If you wish to address the board, please sign the speaker identification sheet. When you are called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name and major clearly for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and the overall time is 15 minutes. Those wishing to speak on non-agenda items will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the item has been officially introduced to the board. Every agenda item will be open for public comment before the board takes formal action on the item. Is there any public comment? Okay, thank you. And then moving forward, we have consent calendar. Does anyone wish to move anything to consent calendar today? Or withdraw? Natalie.
I sent an email to Laura saying I was going to withdraw faculty Senate, so just want to let the Vice Chair know.
Laura?
My internal committee appointments are going to be withdrawn.
All right, anything else to be withdrawn or moved to consent calendar? And do we have a motion to adopt the consent calendar as amended? Can we have a motion? Jarisha.
I move to approve the consent calendar. Second.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry. Let's put it to a vote. All of those in favor to approve the consent calendar as amended, please raise your hand. All right, lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, and so the motion passes unanimously. All right, so we'll be moving over to new business. First, we have 2022-23-1157 Estrella Pacheco University Committee appointments. Is there a motion? Lexa.
I move to approve 2022-23-1157 Estrella Pacheco University Committee appointments.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Lexa.
So after recruiting students and contacting students and helping students fill out the committee interest form, there was a student who, got cleared and everything. So I would like to appoint her to the State Foreign and Publications Board. Currently, we have about 7 committees that still need to be filled. We do have an updated list, so if you would like a list, please let us know. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or discussions? Okay, seeing none, let's put it to a vote. So all those in favor of 2022-23-1157 Estrella Pacheco University Committee appointments, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. Lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay. Seeing none, the motion has been passed unanimously. Moving to the next one, 2022-23-1157 Estrella Pacheco recommendations to the President for University Committee appointments. Is there a motion? Lexa.
I move to approve 2022-23-1158 Estrella Pacheco recommendations to the President for University Committee appointments.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Lexa.
Also, after looking at students and talking to them, I will be appointing 3 students and myself. And there are currently 4 committees still open for students to be appointed to. We did want, for the Police Advisory Committee, a graduate student, but we were having a hard time looking for a student. After talking with the chief after an event, he suggested that I should sit on it. And after their approval, I was like, sure, why not? And there is still 1 spot open for that committee for a grad student. So just in case you find one, please let me know, because we'd love a grad student in that one. And once again, there's 4 committees left for university committee recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, is there any discussion, any other discussion? Okay, so we can put it to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1158 Estrella Pacheco recommendations to the President for University Committee appointments, please raise your hand. Okay, you can lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, seeing none, the motion has passed unanimously. Okay. Moving to the next one, we have 2022-23-1161 Pacheco approval of the elections agency for spring 2022 elections. Is there a motion? C.
I move to approve 2022-23-1161 Pacheco approval for election agency for spring 2023 elections.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Laura?
So like Samuel talked about last meeting, this is pretty much the independent agency that we're using for our elections, just making sure that everything is up to par, making sure that, you know, our elections are fair and all that. So it's just a big review of what we did. Or what she talked about last meeting. It looks like the cost is going to be $4,880 as stipulated. In the attached contract, if you guys have any further question about this, we can definitely talk it over. Or you can talk it over with Selma, but pretty much the same as the stuff that we talked about last week.
Gina?
I just want, to let you know that this company has been a partner of ASI for a good number of years and apparently has not raised the cost in many, many years, or maybe since its inception of the contract, which is kind of unheard of, so that's pretty awesome. I was able to actually use it during a special election that we held several years ago, and it's very professional, it's great technology, and Gerald, who helps to organize all that with the company, knows the software very, very well, so they have a great working relationship with the company, so I encourage you to pass the legislation.
Is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move over to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1161 Pacheco approval of the elections agency for spring 2023 elections, please raise your hands. Okay, you can lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. All right. Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Moving to the next one, 2022-23-1162, Ayuk Pacheco Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 3.3.2, collaborate with Student Affairs podcast to promote ASI. Is there a motion? Adderall.
I move to approve 2022-2023-1162 strategic priority 3.3.2, collaborate with Student Affairs podcast to promote ASI.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Adderall.
Nothing that much changed to the legislation, just for the recommendation for the second part, I changed it from giveaway to opportunity drawing products. As soon as the legislation passes, and if it does pass, I will get in contact with mic'd up people to get this priority done as well.
All right, is there any other discussion or questions? Gina?
I would like Adderall to let us know if, is it for the products will be included in one, like a basket, like all together, or are they individual giveaways that mic'd up will be administering through the instrument?
Adderall.
It'll be through one like basket type of situation, and then one lucky winner will take it away.
Any other discussions or questions? Z?
Do you by any chance know how much strategic funding you will have after if this gets passed? Or?
Your vision?
About still 6,200. You're good.
Any other discussion or questions? Adderall.
Also, just to keep in mind one thing, this legislation is just for fall semester. We're going to be working on another giveaway in the spring semester too, as discussed. I just didn't include it in this legislation since this legislation focuses on strictly to the fall semester.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move over to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1162, Ayub Galan, Pacheco, Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 3.3.2, collaborate with student affairs podcast to promote ASI. Is there a all those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, you can lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. All right, so we'll move over to 2022-23-1164, Bidani, approval of the ASI Dreamers, sorry, skipped one. 2022-23-1163, Babar, Bolis, Panchal, Nikdao, Andrade Dominguez, Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 3.3.4, strategic priority connections with commuters. Is there a motion? Tesh.
I move to approve 2022-23-1163 Babar, Bolas, Panchal, Nikdao, Andrade Dominguez, Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 3.3.4, connection with the commuters.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Tesh.
So as we discussed last time, this event is especially for the commuters, so we finally confirmed the place and the time. It's going to be the Sarna Plaza from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. There will be 2 tables, one to promote ASI and another one for the hot beverages. And we will have the hot chocolate, coffee, tea and hot water and the milk.
Okay, is there any other discussion or questions? Gina.
I just want to say this is one of my favorite events, and I'm very excited that you are choosing to do it this year and allocating funding to do it. I think ASI sometimes is so much missed by the commuters who kind of come in, go, have to go to work, those sorts of things, and it's a great opportunity to try to engage students in campus. So thank you for the legislation.
All right, any other discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move over to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1163, Babar, Boas, Panchal, Nikdao, Andrade Dominguez, Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 3.3.4 strategic priority connections with commuters, please raise your hand. You can vote if you want to. Perfect. Lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Moving to the next one, 2022-23-1164, Budani, approval of the ASI Dreamers Student Social Justice, U.S. Armed Forces and Student Services with Disabilities Fall 2022 scholarships. Is there a motion? Your Bishop.
I move to approve 2022-23-1164 Botany approval of the ASI Dreamers Student Social Justice, U.S. Armed Forces and Student Services with Disabilities Fall 2022 scholarships.
Second. Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Your Bishop.
So like we talked on our last working board meeting, the folders are being passed right now. I'm just gonna go through the scholarship timeline real quick. The scholarships opened up no later than September 23rd. The scholarship closed on October 21st at 5 p.m. The committee had access to the applications and essays are no later than October 31st, 2022. The committee for the ASI scholarships consisted of me as the chair, 1 ASI board member, 1 ASI student employee, and there were 3 students at large who together we all created the rubrics for all the scholarships. Legislation for the scholarship was presented on the last working board meeting, which was on November 16th, and today we are going to vote on it. The notifications to recipients and non-recipients will be sent out by November 28th, and the checks will be available on December 8 and 9, and if they're not picked up, they will be mailed to the address that they have on the student center. The folder is for the eyes of voting members only. It has the names of the students who are going to get the scholarships. A little about how we scored the rubric. There were clear questions asked from them in the scholarship application, and they had to submit the answers to it, and all of the members on the committee had access to all the applications. It had no names on it, so we had to just judge on based off of the information given about a person with no name. Every single committee member graded every single application, and then we averaged it out and picked the top people, and that's who gets the scholarship. It's pretty clear. If you have any questions, I'm open to answering them.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll move over. So we'll wait for the vote until the folders are back over here. Okay, so we're going to move over to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1164 Boudani approval of the ASI Dreamers Student Social Justice, U.S. Armed Forces, and Student Services with Disabilities Fall 2022 scholarships, please raise your hand. All right, you can lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. All right, and moving over to our last one, 2022-23-1165, De La Garza Garcia Boudani, approval of the ASI Memorial Fall 2022 scholarships. Is there a motion? Laura.
I move to approve 2022-23-1165 De La Garza Garcia Boudani approval of ASI Memorial Fall 2022 scholarships.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Laura?
So similar, nothing has changed since last time. These memorial scholarships are only giving in the fall, as opposed to the ASI scholarships. They're a similar timeline to the ASI scholarships, where they were open no later than September 23rd. They close October 21st at 5 p.m. Our committee members, I had 2 students at large and 1 board member. And we have to grade and score those essays no later than October 31st. The legislation for this was presented to you all on November 16th, and we're going to vote on it today. Notifications to these recipients will be sent out no later than November 28th, and the checks will be available December 8th and 9th. If not picked up, they're going to be mailed to the recipients that want the scholarships.
Okay, and again, we will just wait for a vote until all the folders are back. Are there any other questions or discussions? Okay, so now we will move over to a vote. All those in favor of 2022-23-1165, De La Garza Garcia Boudani approval of the ASI Memorial Fall 2022 scholarships, please raise your hand. Okay, you can lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. All right, Seeing none, the motion has been moved unanimously. Passed unanimously. Okay, so now we're going to be moving into the ASI College Director reports. So just keep in mind, you do have 4 minutes to talk about the report and present it, and then an extra 2 minutes for any questions. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with our first board of director, which is Adderall Ayubgalan, and he's the director of arts and letters. And as soon as you start talking, the timer will start.
Hi everyone, I love seeing the people in the audience. Thank you so much for coming out, and happy Thanksgiving Eve if you celebrate it. If you don't, happy 24-hour break Eve. Yeah. With that being said, like Veronica said, my name is Adderall. I'm the director for arts and letters. That's my office hours and my content information. Follow me on Instagram. I'm super active. But yeah, and then that's my special note. Y'all can read it whenever y'all can. Going to my internal committees. On October 31st was our last meeting. We had a meeting in November, I believe November 14th, but that got canceled. But for the October 31st, we talked about a Lakers skill and how to help more students with the resources and how to provide students with those information. For my university committee, for my alcohol advisory committee won't meet till spring semester. Lobby Corps, we had a presentation from Noah Marty, who used to be ASI president in 2020, 2021. And then my grade appeal committee, my services are not needed at the moment. And if my services are needed, they will reach out to me. For my strategic priority updates, 2.1.1 completed, 2.2.1 completed, 2.2.2 completed, 3.3.2 almost completed. We just passed the legislation for it, so I'm super excited. And then my all board strategic priorities have also all of them been completed except for 3.1.2. My office hours, I worked on my board report, met with students, did some social media stuff, you know, the good stuff. And then on my ASI meetings, committees, and campus events, I just did the basics that I've usually done, which is have one-on-one with my associate deans. I had a lot of presentations that I've done, and then I worked on my kickoff event. I completely forgot about that. I worked on my kickoff event in September, November, which was a amazing turnout. Shout out to everyone that came and helped out. I'm officially done with my ASI presentations. I went a little bit over, so I have 8, but you know me, overachiever. And I love talking to students, so it was really fun. And then just a little note that I kind of did a little fun fact. We went over 12 larger boxes of pizza. That is a huge turnout. I kind of want to quote what Kayla said is if you promote your event right, then that's how you know you had a successful event, because you'll have no food left, and I only had like 4 slices of pizza left. If you go towards the end, those are pictures of people that tabled at the event, and I took those pictures with Myla Booth, who's the Joint Council President. Yeah, overall, it was a really successful event. I had really amazing time planning it. Just a shout out to those clubs that really came out. It really is hard trying to reach out to clubs, and I'm just super thankful for those that came. Yeah.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move over to the next board report, which is AZ. He's our Director of Business. So you, again, have 4 minutes and 2 minutes for questions, and it starts whenever you start.
Hello? Okay. Yeah. Hey Hornets, how are y'all? Excited for this break coming up. We can catch up on some work and break into some studying before finals week. So hope you're getting prepped up for that. My office hours are up there as well as my contact information. So just shoot me a note if you need me. I am readily available most of the time. Jumping to internal committee appointments. Finance and Budget Committee is over. We had our last meeting. I'm kind of sad. It was like one of my favorite committees. So some highlights on November 1st, we went over to the Children's Center. We had a tour. It was really cool just to see what happens and really dive into both the Children's Center program as well as Peak Adventures to learn about all their extended services and what they offer. So now I can speak better to those programs when I'm talking to campus stakeholders and et cetera. On November 15th, Finance and Budget Committee went to the Aquatic Center. So we loaded up in a van, drove over, got to see like the lake and stuff from the terrace, which is a really good view. So that was a great presentation from Brian. Really thankful for Finance and Budget Committee and really enjoyed that. Jumping over to University Committee updates, I had my committee with UEI Bookstore Advisory Committee. Really quick committee, just jumping over some different agenda items, but it was really cool. Got to see a tour of the bookstore and went into like the warehouse and stuff to see how all that operates. And I even came out of it with some free Starbucks and a free mug, which is really cool. So definitely happy about that. Student Fee Advisory Committee, that was great. It was just like an hour and a half or closer to 2 hours just looking at all these fees. And then with the committee, Dravisha and Salma were also a part of Student Fee Advisory Committee. It was really cool just to pick out 4 different fees for audit and looking to see what happens with those. Jumping over to strategic priority updates. 1.3.1, Dravisha and I have scheduled a meeting on November 29th to talk about the application for the Student Entrepreneur Growth Grant and what that looks like. So we're going to be diving into that application and trying to form that out. And 3.3.4, recent update, we just passed legislation, so that's going to be good for coffee and commuters, or connection with the commuters. Going to be excited for that one. Jumping over to some office hour highlights, I met with my dean this month. And a big thing we're planning with the College of Business Clubs is having a game night. So I'm working with the dean so he can fund that event in the game room in the union. So I think that's gonna be fun just to engage all the College of Business Clubs and get to know them better. I had a business club union, kind of like a joint council meeting with them. And it's nice to see like me being the liaison for a lot of the College of Business Clubs to try to make sure their doc funding and all of that stuff is sorted out. So I'm kind of the intermediary for that, as well as just having them stay connected with amongst each other, since most of these business clubs like finance and accounting are pretty closely related. Same thing with BAP. Jumping over to some meeting events and presentations, wanted to highlight a couple of them. On the 28th of October, we tabled at Peak Adventures Open Climb, which is really fun. And as you can see, I went to a lot of kickoff events, so shout out to all the directors who had amazing kickoff events. And then a couple other ones. Yesterday, Tej, Adderall, and I went to the ASI Children's Center for a luncheon, and that was really cool to eat with like parents and children. Really fun. I had a one-on-one with Sandra, which I've been looking forward to, and we talked about a bunch of different stuff, which was great. So yeah, other than that pretty much wraps up my board report. So thank you all for listening.
All right, any questions for AZ? Okay, so we'll move over to the next one. Our next board report is Z. He is the Director of Education. Again, 4 minutes, 2 minutes for questions. It'll start right when you start talking.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Definitely nice seeing new faces every time. So for my board report, office hours are right there, contact info is right there. So for our internal committee updates, for our Wellness, Safety, and Sexual Assault Committee, we finalized our details for our All Ears event that will be taking place November 28th, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. in the Union First Floor Redwood Room. We were fortunate enough to get it sponsored by the Division of Inclusive Excellence, the Union Well, and ASI, so shout out to them, big thank you to them. And we also started brainstorming ideas for our brand new name, because as you see, it's a very large, long name, so we're trying to at least brief it down to a couple words if possible. In regards to our university committee updates, our grade appeals are to be determined. We're still waiting. For our Parental Advisory Council, PAC committee, I chaired my first meeting on the 7th of November, so that was definitely a brand new experience. It was fun, new. Luckily, I could take some of the experience I've seen here in this board meeting and apply it over there. We discussed some special events that happen and that are up and coming. For example, the luncheon that was this past yesterday, Tuesday. And I personally learned a lot more about the whole center and how it runs and how a lot of work does go behind the scenes that a lot of us may have not known about. And then for our strategic priority updates, our 1.11 is complete. We are working on potential volunteer opportunities within the ASI departments. Luckily, last week we had that Children's Center presentation, so that definitely, pantry, my fault. We definitely got a little bit more insight on, what is needed within the pantry. So we're going to be working a lot more closely with the ASI pantry and the Dreamers Resource Centers who are monitoring over those D6 students to see if we can get some more students into volunteer. For 2.2.2, it has been completed, as well as 3.3.3. And for 3.1.2, collaborate on a cultural celebration. The director of SSIS and I, we were able to draft up our Glimpse of the World event that will be happening this upcoming spring semester. So it's definitely very interesting in regards to the whole setting up process, preparing process, because I never went to this extent of creating an event. So it's definitely a wonderful learning experience to see all the small nitty-gritty type of things that we have to take into consideration. And for my office hours, I've been meeting with students, organize all their events, Glimpse of the World. But one thing I would like to highlight from my meeting and events is just this past meeting with my dean, or associated dean, where we're trying to see the possibility of researching a little bit more info in regards to mapping out a whole bus route for students that are within our Child Development 35F course. It's one of those courses that have had higher dropout rates over the past couple of years. So we've been approaching it, and right now we're in the process of researching that whole bus route map to see if that could benefit the students within those classes that have struggles of getting transportation. And another one that Sherry from the Children's Center and I, we're planning on doing a sort of workshop for a child development permit that we didn't know, or at least I didn't know existed up until my last year. So we're definitely trying to get to see how and what we're able to do to get that more known for these upcoming future child development students, as well as the ones that are currently here. But yeah.
Okay, any questions for Z on his board report? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move over to our next one. Tej, he's the Director of Engineering and Computer Sciences. And you have 4 minutes and 2 minutes for questions.
Good afternoon, guys. So my office hour contact information is all over there. I just need to read 3 lines of my special note. So I read a quote last week. So quote is like, life is a book and all these years are chapters, and all of your daily things are just pages or little stories. If you don't like it, just tear them apart that page. You cannot ruin your chapter for the one single page. There are more beautiful and amazing pages waiting for you. For the internal committee, we had a very good event came out, and it was Speak Up, and there are very few students, not few, but a lot of students came out, and different parts from the union also. It was really great. For the university committee, so both in the both committees there are very similar people, and they talk about like the same issues. So mostly we try to update the university's laptop and PCs and that software, and we make sure like faculty and staff will have like a better engineering equipments. For the strategic priority, so we decided to move the strategic priority 1.2.1 to the next semester, because we don't want to rush into like things, and we want to organize that alumni thing in a better way. And we already agree with the connection with the computers today, so let's hope it will be a good event. In the office hour, I have updated my bulletin board, met with the dean and associate dean, but some ECSJC officers, clubs and students and all them. The one thing I want to highlight in my this month is like we had a first round of faculty management associated vice president interview, and we came up with 5 finalists, and I'm really hoping to see them in the second round, but it's in the final week, so let's see. I met with my dean this week because we are organizing an event, ECS versus NSM Turkey Bowl, which is kind of a bowling event. So my dean and NSM dean will be there also. There are department chairs also be available. So if anything, ECS major or NSM major wants to come to bowl this thing in this event, let me know. It's a $16 per person. So let me know if you want to come. And I finished my classroom presentations, so yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if seeing none, we'll move over to our next director, Chris. He is the Director of Health and Human Services, so 4 minutes and 2 minutes for questions.
Hi, good afternoon. As you see, my office hours are posted. So I didn't want to read my entire special note, but I did want to touch on a few things. I hope everyone is having a wonderful semester and is staying warm as the season changes. And I want to emphasize that if you need support, don't hesitate to ask for it. I also included a quote from Dr. Guy West that I found really impactful. So I encourage you guys to read that. And moving on to my internal committee updates. On the ASI Green Team, we are currently in the process of developing and implementing recycling signs that should help make recycling more easier for students. So we're collecting food packaging from different campus vendors and using it to make recycling signs that will be around all the different recycling bins on campus. And I wasn't able to attend the second Green Team meeting this month because of some urgent ASI related issues that occurred. Moving on to the Anchor University Advisory Council, we've had a very progressive month. During the November meeting, members who attended the Coalition of Urban and Metropolitan Universities conference spoke about their experience at the event and the knowledge they gained. Moreover, Anchor University Advisory Council members expressed their satisfaction with the voter turnout at the Sac State Voter Center during the November election. And we also discussed the Lead California newsletter, in addition to discussing our own newsletter that the Anchor University puts out. We're also in the process of updating the Anchor University website and are recruiting for Anchor University ad hoc positions in subcommittee roles. Moving on to my strategic priority updates. The ASI Board has passed legislation for priorities 2.11 and 2.13. We have not passed legislation for priority 2.14, but we are in the process of it. During my office hours, I planned ASI events. I had a meeting with an alumni. I met with students and responded to students, faculty, and staff concerns, and also worked on ASI strategic priorities. Some of the different meetings and events that I wanted to highlight was on October 28th, we had the Harvest Fest, and I tabled at that event. It was a great event and had a wonderful turnout. Another thing I've been doing at the end of October and also this month is I served on the Health and Human Services Associate Dean Search Committee. That was a lot of work and it was a great experience. So I had multiple meetings for that search committee, and then I also, on November 2nd, attended the ASI legislation training. On November 4th, the Health and Human Services had an anti-racism event. It was put on by an organization called A Long Talk About Uncomfortable Truth. I had a great time attending that. And then the Health and Human Services Joint Council also on a Jeopardy night on November 18th. And there's some photos listed for that. It was a great night, had a great attendance.
Okay. Any other questions for Chris? Okay, so we're going to move forward to the next board report, which is JD. She's the Director of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. 4 minutes and 2 minutes for questions.
Hi, everyone. So during my office hours, I replied to emails, I posted on my positional account, I attended some campus events. That's my contact information if anyone needs to reach out to me. Some internal committee updates for the Wellness, Safety, and Sexual Assault Awareness Committee. We met on November 3rd, and then we had another meeting last week, but I was unable to attend due to some school-related things. On November 28th, we have our All Ears event, and we would love for everyone to show up. The committee has put a lot of work in. University committee updates, the Alcohol Advisory Council, we met in October, and we're not meeting again until the spring semester. Grade Appeal Committee, that one has been a super long process. We're still working on our last letter to get sent out. Some strategic priority updates, I finished 3.2.1. And then for 3.3.1, I have been consistently posting on my positional account promoting our board meetings. And then in October, Z and I held our kickoff event, which was super successful. And then I also attended the Sac State football homecoming game. And then in November, on November 2nd, I attended the ECS Joint Council meeting to discuss our upcoming Turkey Bowl. And as Tej mentioned, if anyone wants to participate in that, please let us know. We're happy to have you guys come. And then on the 14th, I had a one-on-one with Sandra, and then I've just been meeting with my Associate Dean, Dr. Ma. And then on the 14th, I was able to attend the Speak Out event, which was super successful. I love the paint sign they made. And then on the 14th, I met with Josh to talk about the NSF Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I've also been working with Lex on that to see the students who are involved with that. I'm super excited for that to come up in my college. And then during Global Entrepreneurship Week, that was super successful. I attended a panel called Science of Fertile Ground for Entrepreneurship. I thought it was pretty interesting because in science and business, it was kind of hard to think like how could you connect the two, but meeting with the panelists, they definitely talked about how business and science can relate to one another. And then on the 19th, I attended the Causeway Classic, which was a big turnout, a lot of people, which was super fun. And then I plan on attending the next game in December. And then I attended the Arts and Letters kickoff event, and then today at the board meeting. And then I also finished my presentations. And then that is all. And happy Thanksgiving and happy birthday to Tej and Lexa.
Okay. Any other questions for JD? All right. And just I will be going last, but so we're going to be moving on to Sachi. So she is our Director of Undeclared Students. So you have 4 minutes and then 2 minutes for questions.
Thank you. My office hours and contact information is up there. Moving to the internal committee updates, as I mentioned, it's one of my favorite committee, ASI Finance and Budget, and it was so good to see like little kids doing like a cute, adorable things with that adorable furniture. It was so good, and we met on the November 1st and November 15th, and we had the presentations from Children's Center, Peak Adventures, and Aquatic Center. We drive to the Aquatic Center, so it was like a short trip. And Brian, who's the director for the Aquatic Center, we got a really good tour at the Aquatic Center. And it was really super informative to know what services each of ASI department offers to the students. And moving to the university committee updates, I appointed as a chair for the Union Valve Audit Committee, and we had the proposed meeting on November 10th for the presentation of the new auditing firm. But the RFP process was still under review and was necessary to cancel the meeting. So we'll reschedule the meeting before end of the fall semester. And I just received a little update today that we're in the process of scheduling a meeting on the next Friday, but waiting for the confirmation. Also for the Friends of Library, we met on the November 18th and I visited the Digitization Center, which is located on the 3rd floor of the University Library. And this lab is like amazing. They are all doing the special digitalization of the university archives. Coming to the strategic priority updates, 1.2.1, the Alumni Center one. So we are planning to do the speed networking event in the spring semester. And for the all board one, we completed the 3.1.1 and it was super amazing. We did the handprints with the speak up event. Officers, I did my kickoff event last month, so it was time to get the reimbursement. So thank you, Lisa, for guiding me. And meetings and events, we did the Hindu New Year celebration, like we had the samosa and mango lassi party. And Prop 1 really, Veronica spoke in support of the Prop 1 constitutional right to the freedom. And we did the 101 with Sandra. It was super indeed. Thank you, Sandra. And October 28th, it was the ASI Harvest Net where we did the open climb tabling as well. Coming to the November, I would like to highlight the Green Monolith training. It was super informative and I came to know a lot of things that I wasn't aware of before. And it made me able to help undocumented students now. We did the 101 with the Natalie. We discussed some of the academic issues and grading policy with the undeclared students too. We also had the student-led discussion on sexual assault that was super informative as well, which is emotional too. I did the next day the meeting with Dean German, who's the undergraduate studies dean, and we went over the support of the AB 920, which is already approved by Faculty Senate. And every year we have the nearly 400 students who coming as undeclared students on sex day. And we also discussed about the students who are the freshman year. They are already required to attend FYE or the advising. So if you are
30 seconds.
And these are my ASI presentations. It was super informative with the career track program interns, like what they are doing for the internships. So it was informative. And the last one is the good luck on your finals. Make sure to eat, rest, and study smart.
Okay, moving to the next one. Oh, sorry, any questions for Sachi? Moving to the next one, we have Urbashi, which is the Director of Graduate Studies. So 4 minutes and then 2 minutes for questions.
Hi everyone. I hope you are all doing well. So I would like to read my message to the Hornets first. I hope your semester is somewhat stress-free and as productive as possible. Please try to find some time to practice some self-care in the coming weeks. There are a lot of wonderful events going on in the few weeks, so please participate and take advantage of the full resources we have available on campus. If you are interested in post-baccalaureate education and have questions about what it is there, please contact me so we can meet. I would like to discuss your goals and provide any resources I can help to succeed with. Lastly, if you want to affect change on campus or are interested in being more involved, please consider running for the position with ASI. The elections were going to be held during the spring semester, and it is an exciting and fulfilling way to make a difference and boost your resume as well. If you are interested in running, please reach out, and I can provide more informational resources about the process. Moving on to committee updates, the Graduate Studies Policies Committees. So we met on the November 1st and November 5th and discussed about a few changes in the credit hour policy. New edits are made in the grading policy proposal, and a new language has been suggested by the Committee for Graduate Programs Accumulating Experience Supervision Policy. In ASI Memorial Scholarship Committee, we have reviewed and graded the ASI scholarship. In the Diversity Awards Committee, we met on 27th October and reviewed and nominated the recipients for their awards. And there is no scheduled meetings at this time for Graduate Council and Graduate Appeals Panel. Moving on to strategic priority updates. 1.1.2 Explore on Professional Clothing Drive. BPUA has sent out an email to campus partner from Career Center and KS Department to talk about the possibility of professional clothing drive. 3.1.1 Support the anti-racism and inclusion campus action in concert with inclusive excellence. I have attended SAC State One Book discussion on Hebrew popular culture and disability culture. 3.1 Promote board meetings. I'm promoting board meetings on the social media. 3.3.4 Connection with commuters. So we have planned this event and it is going to be held on December 1st from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now moving on to events, committees and meetings calendar. It's on the second last page. So I'm attending my committee meetings, board meetings and few campus events, and I'm serving my office hours. In my office hours I was creating this board report, replying to emails and messages, increasing the reach and followers on Instagram, and planning strategic priority with other board members. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Vashi? Okay, and seeing none, we'll move over to the last board report. This one is for me, the Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies. So as always, I have my office hours at the top and my contact information. Going into my internal committee updates, so Student Academic Senate, we had our fifth and fifth meeting. So in the fourth meeting, we discussed strategic priorities and we finalized it, and then some of the members were able to choose which subcommittees they wanted to sit on. For our fifth meeting, I gave a presentation about the policies that we're going over in the Academic Policies Committee, just because a lot of them overlap with what we're talking about on our priorities for Student Academic Senate. And those policies were specifically the grading policy and the student excused absence policy. So we went over some of the edits and the recommendations that the Student Academic Senate would want me to bring back to the Academic Policies Committee. For university committees, so academic policies, we met twice as well. So our fourth meeting, we've kind of just been discussing the policies and going over the edits and everything. So that's just what we've been doing pretty much at every meeting. And they've asked me to kind of bring like the student perspective in, just because this is a faculty senate meeting. So I'm the only student that sits on it at the moment. So I've been speaking to them about like my personal edits and kind of just giving them the student perspective. And then next week I will be giving them the feedback from the Student Academic Senate so they can try to implement that. Committee on Diversity and Equity, we haven't met since the first committee meeting. So we do have one planned for the 5th. So that should be our last meeting, but we haven't met before that. Going into my strategic priorities, so for the clothing drive for 1.1.2, we are still coordinating with the Alumni Center. We are going to work on it for next semester. And like Urvashi said, Lexa, our VP UA, has reached out to the CARES program as well. And then for the links on the MySAC State page, both of those are completed. We're just waiting on IRT to finalize all of that on their end. Informational Resource Technology, that's what IRT stands for. And then collaborate on a cultural celebration. So this has been like the biggest focus for us for a while. So we are planning, like Z said, a big cultural celebration. The time and place is not finalized just yet, but we are looking at the University Ballroom in March in the spring semester. And I've reached out to My Dean, the Division of Inclusive Excellence, the MLK Center, the APITA Center, the Iranian and Middle Eastern Studies Center, and the Multicultural Center, and they've all agreed to help with funding and to help with advocating and advertisements and stuff as well. So that's really exciting, and we would love to have all of you guys out to help out with volunteering and stuff once the event is finalized. And then going into our next one, so Coffee and Commuters, Connections with Commuters, that one hopefully will get passed today. And Admiral.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so Coffee with Commuters will get passed today, hopefully. So we will be able to do that on December 1st from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then for office hours, I've been working on the ASI scholarships, strategic priorities, and then obviously meeting with my joint council, and then working on legislation. And some of the events that I did finish the presentations as well, but some of the events that I wanted to highlight were the Prop 1 rally. Of course, I forgot to put it on there, but that one was on the 28th. I went to a couple people's kickoff events, and they were all really interesting, really fun. The Dreamers Ally training, and then I went to the Hmong New Year celebration, which was really interesting because it kind of was the same layout that we were hoping for our cultural celebration. So that was really cool to see. I had some one-on-one meetings with Natalie and with Sandra, and then went to some of my committees. I also went to the football game, which was really cool. I think we're still undefeated, but it was I think Sac State's record for the most people at a football game. So it was like 23,000 people that were there. So it was huge. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right, so that concludes the board reports. So moving over to the next one. So now we have announcements. Are there any announcements? Alexa.
As mentioned throughout this meeting and in the past, the All Ears event will be happening this upcoming Monday, November 28th at 3 p.m. in the Redwood Room. So to our constituents in the audience, would definitely love for you all to attend. There will be pizza, self-care bags, and we'll be also offering an opportunity drawing to those who finish the survey.
Are there any other announcements? Gina?
First, I'd like to say thanks for so many folks who went to the game, because that record is kind of fun. And I just want to encourage you that sports are a way that we can engage together as a community, because we all, get behind our mascot and so forth, and support the athletes as well, their hard work like we do for, arts and entertainment as well. So I wanted to let you know that both women's and men's basketball are playing at Golden One Center tonight. So if you're interested in attending that, I don't have details, but check it out. Kind of cool opportunity to play in a large venue. The other thing is that women's volleyball is in the championship tournament, and that starts, I believe, today and goes through the Thanksgiving weekend. So just keep an eye out and see how they do. Cheer them on how you can, maybe through social, or watch them on ESPN+. So we have other sports kicking off. I was able to go to a basketball event that they offered for faculty and staff at the noontime basketball game on last Friday. And that's a lot of fun. So if you haven't been to a Sac State basketball game, a home game, it's a tiny, tiny little gym, which is in itself sort of sad. But on the flip side is also a really fun, loud place to go watch some basketball. So if it's a fun event to do in the evenings, both women's and men's basketball play at the Nest. So check it out if you haven't done so before. I'm all about sports right now, so I'm feeling it. Something also to note for the playoff game, which is on December 3rd, though that is not free to students, I don't believe. So playoff games typically are not. So if you plan to attend, that is something where you need to make sure to go get your tickets or buy them online. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other announcements at all?
I have a quick question for Gina. Is the basketball game against Davis for men's and?
Yes, it is. It's a Causeway Classic for basketball.
Oh, Adderall.
That happened yesterday.
Oh, why did I see something today? It happened yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, well then, forget it. I saw something late, apparently. I saw like come out to Golden One Center. I'm like, yeah, that's happening tonight. Okay, forget it. Sorry. Did we win?
Adderall.
The men's team, unfortunately not, but the women's team won.
Any, Laura?
All right, nobody has any other announcements? On that, then I'll wait. I'll go very, very last.
Division.
I just want to remind you there's only one more legislation cycle left. If you want to use the priority monies, please let me know. I've heard that someone on the board is trying to snatch a lot of priority money. If anyone else really needs the money, please talk to me first so I can distribute the money evenly. Apparently we are going to run out sooner than later. So please, the more communication, the better. And that's it. And also have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
JD?
If the chair allows, I would like all of us to sing happy birthday to Alexa and Tej, if that's okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
You'll have to leave.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ted and Alexa. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And I have an announcement, a couple. So my joint council, the SSIS joint council, we are trying to do an event and we're teaming up with the Health and Human Services joint council as well. We want to do like a wellness event before finals and before the semester ends. So right now we're working on getting it in the Cottonwood Suite, and we're just going to be kind of like a de-stress event with like drawing, coloring, bracelets, button making, that kind of stuff. It's still in the works, so I will be sending out everything to the board like once we have a full flyer and everything, but the room and all of that should be confirmed already. So it's going to be on November 30th from 10 a.m. to 12. So I know it's right before the board meeting, but usually people are in the office, so if you aren't doing anything, you can stop by, and we're also trying to get some like some hot chocolate or something like that as well. And then also lastly, this is kind of ASI related, but I did want to say, so my Arab club, we have been doing some tabling, and we've raised around $800 and cans and dry food and everything. So we're going to be donating all of that to the food pantry. So that's super exciting. So just a tip, if you are trying to raise money, usually the pieing works like that. So that is it for announcements. So does anyone else have any announcements? Natalie.
Really briefly, I sent you guys an email a few days ago that we need to do our academic check-ins for the semester for my operating rules. So if any of you haven't yet scheduled, just press on the link. And then some of you came kind of confused of what we were talking about, but it's essentially any academic issues that you've heard within your colleges and how I can best support you in hopefully solving these issues.
Okay, any other announcements? Okay, Laura.
All right, so we have our last board meeting December 7th, and like Felicia said, our last legislation cycle is coming up. Legislation for that will be due November 29th. Office hours are going to go on through prep week. Prep week is the week before finals, so we will not be having office hours during finals, but prep week we do have office hours, so just make sure to be making up office hours if you miss some. Be honest with yourself and be honest with the office eventually. If you have missed office hours, please make them up. With that being said, the office is going to be closed December 19th through January 3rd. I know a lot of us spend a lot of time there. If there's anything that you need to get out before they close, make sure to do that before those dates. With that being said, Sandra is going to be doing, or not doing, she's going to be sending out emails on board eligibility on whether you can stay on the board or not. Or, you know, if you pass through, excuse me, if you pass your eligibility. So expect that email to come the first week of January, if I'm not mistaken, Sandra. If there's any problems going on that we should know about, just let us know sooner rather than later. Hopefully not. Stay on top of your areas on your academics and what you need to do. And then you also want to maybe put an out of the office message for winter break. I strongly encourage you guys to really use that and take a break, because it's been a long semester and it's going to continue to be a long semester. So just make sure to have that refresher so you can come back fresh after winter break for the spring semester. And then lastly, we have our mid-year retreat, which is also a required retreat you cannot miss. So please, January 19th at the Aquatic Center. It is not an overnight thing. It is just a day thing, but you guys are all required to be there. It's really not up for discussion. You have to be there. Be ready with your strategic priorities and how those are looking. We're going to look over them and see if some of them are still feasible, if we need to adjust certain days, and with any other updates that you may have. Lastly, take care of yourself. You may notice some of our board members are missing because they're sick. I was pretty sick the past 2 days. I'm still sick. So just, the holidays are coming up. Make sure you're staying safe. You're drinking lots of water. We're going to be around a lot of people. Given that we're back in person, we had a pretty big football game where the stadium was sold out. Everybody's kind of packed within each other. So just make sure to be taking the precautions that you would be taking just at any time. And then also to everybody that has done their joint council event, congratulations. It's very good to see them and attend some of them. If you haven't already, just make sure to be doing it before the semester ends. This is per your operating rules. So also non-negotiable, it's per the operating rules. If you need help, go to Lisa and Emily. They'll be able to help you or collaborate with your directors. I know that everybody has been very good at helping each other out, whether it's for setup, cleanup, or just simply attendance and bringing in people, and that's awesome to see you guys working as a team. Thank you for that. And that concludes my announcement.
Okay. Al?
Quick question for the Aquatic Center for retreat. What are we wearing?
Laura? That is to be determined, but probably just comfortable clothes.
Sandra?
Hi, Coach. Hi. Well, is it working? Yeah.
So just wanted to footnote Laura's comment that yes, you will be receiving an email from me or Lisa the first week of January determining eligibility. So this is a good time for all of you. I love getting 100% return on my fall semester board. So 2.5 GPA this term is the minimum. So I really am looking at each and every one of you, and everyone during my check-ins, I'm really imploring you to make sure that right now, if you have problems, go talk to your professors, meet with them, figure out a plan on how to get to that through the threshold, because I want to see all, 14 of you back in the spring. So look out for that email, and hopefully I'll just be sending one email that says, congratulations, see you in January.
Okay, any other announcements or questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 3:14.